this time of year when the legislative session is about to get underway and is underway is talk to our lawmakers. They generously give up some of their time for us, for you, really. They're here to give you the scoop as to what the plans are and what's developing and all of that. We're just the middlemen, the conduit through which the wisdom of Curtis King and others will flow.
Wow.
How about that?
Jeez, that sounds pretty good, man.
Better have your boots on, Senator. Better have your boots on.
Well, good morning. Yeah, I was going to say, you ate your Cheerios this morning. No doubt.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you, Senator Curtis King. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, hey, the pleasure is mine. It's always good to talk with you gentlemen. So
well, we want to get
thank you for the opportunity.
You are very welcome.
You got it. You got it. No time, any time, that's for sure. Senator, I guess first of all, before we start talking about the legislative session coming up, your reaction to what happened yesterday.
Well, I'm very disappointed in the rioters. I mean, I would support anybody's right to demonstrate and do those things, but when you start causing damage and breaking into buildings and breaking out windows like I saw, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable behavior. And the sad part about it is it ties us in to all of the stuff that happened all summer long and into the fall in Seattle and Portland and Olympia, where you had Antifa burning and pillaging and, starting fires. This just, it's not the same, but people are going to say, oh, it's just the same thing. So that's the sad part about it. And unfortunately, go demonstrate, show your concern, but you don't do the things that are happening, in my opinion.
Yeah. Good point, sir. Thanks. All right, Lance, I know you have I believe it's a 27-point question list.
Well,
maybe not.
COVID impacting the session. What's the session going to look like, I guess, first of all? I mean,
where are you going to be?
Yeah, kind of give us a mind picture here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So my plan is to basically spend some time in Olympia, a day or two, or maybe the first week, and then see how that goes. It will still, for the most part, be virtual. I'll be in my office. I've been told that it's going to be myself and my legislative assistant. That's all they're going to let in. No one else will be let into the building other than other legislators and their assistants. And then there are times when we could be on the floor. That I haven't figured out yet. But I think most of my time may be at home. I mean, when we're in committee, all the committee meetings are going to be virtual. All of the testimony is going to be virtual, but I have some concerns. I've had three. I want to get this right. I've had three practice sessions on, being on the floor and having bills brought up. Virtually being on the floor,
I was
having bills brought up and voting.
Yeah. I was going to ask you: are you practicing? Or are you making sure that when it's really time to open this session, that all the technology is going to work, or at least that how it's going to work? I guess so. You've already done that. Good.
Well,
good.
I'm no tech guy, but personally, I did well yesterday.
All right.
There were a lot of people that had problems, and I'm not saying it was the people's problems. It was the technology, and that's a concern. I mean, we're 5 days away from starting session, and who knows when we're going to start voting. But there's ways that they've set up now that they know it's me. I mean, they're going to be able to look at see my face, and I have a button to push, and we've gone through all of that. But being this close and still having some of the problems that we encountered yesterday is very concerning.
Yeah.
And what happens when something just goes down? That something gets overloaded and all of a sudden it's gone, and so we'll just see how it goes.
Wow.
My biggest concern is that everybody gets frustrated and the other side of the aisle just says, well, this isn't working real well, and so here's what we're doing, and here's what we're voting on, and they go vote, and they pass their budget, and we go home. I hope that doesn't happen. But my biggest challenge is, how do you try to work with people? How do you make contact with people that have a bill that you want to help either support or change or tell them why you're against it, whatever. That's going to be a more difficult thing.
Do you think, is there any possibility, or am I just crazy here, that, and that's certainly a possibility.
Definitely a possibility.
that the Democrats are emboldened by what's happened in D.C., that our Democrats are emboldened, that they, that maybe now they're really going to push for an income tax, try to do some things that they just haven't been able to do?
Oh, I don't think that the Democrats getting control of the Senate's going to affect that. In all honesty, if they go after an income tax or capital gains tax, that'll and they pass it, it'll probably go to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that's not going to be affected unless somebody passes away immediately or whatever that's on the court. So I really don't think that's going to embolden the Democrats. I don't think they need to be emboldened. I mean, they're already talking about a capital gains tax, and they're talking about changing the way we sell bonds so that it doesn't take a super majority to approve that. I mean, it's like it's amazing. It's just amazing to me the number of times that capital gains has been identified by court after court after court, and nationally, state after state after state, that it's an income tax. And yet, I think we're going to see bills that, and they'll probably pass them, and then we'll end up back in court. I mean, it's like, how they think if they say it often enough, it's going to happen. And and of course, our not so Supreme Court in the state of Washington. They'll find some little word or something that says, oh, yeah, well, I think we can change that now. Anyway.
KRT News Time is 7:51. We're talking with Senator Curtis King about the legislative session coming up on Monday. I take it you've got some goals in mind for the session for the Valley. Tell us kind of what your plans are.
Well, I've what I would like to see, and I made a phone call to the governor's office yesterday and suggested, and I'm sure it wasn't the first one, that we are classified as essential, because I mean technically I think we probably are essential, and that he would allow every legislator and their legislative assistant to get the vaccination if they want to. Because if you think about it, if we did that, and everybody got their first shot the first week of session, by the end of January, we could all be on the floor living life the way we should be living it and normally would be living it from a legislative standpoint. And things could carry on in a little more normal way that I think would be better for everybody.
Senator, I think there's a lot of people that in the Valley that are hoping that you and all the other lawmakers are going to fight to reopen our state and get more businesses open. Is there going to be any possibility we're going to see any action like that?
Oh, yes. There's already bills. There's a couple of bills. I believe Senator Linda Wilson has already dropped a bill that pulls back the governor's powers and then allows us to get our businesses open. It is just utterly unbelievable to me right now that here we are. We started in March, and now in January we're right back. I mean, back where we started from with the governor's proposal, and then to say that. And I'm not going to pick on Costco. Costco's had a problem, okay, and everybody's looked at it, all the health departments, and they said it's fine. It's not going to influence or give COVID to their customers. And I believe that's true. And I want to see Costco open. But by God, if Costco can open and Walmart can open, why can't our small businesses open? they deal with, a minimal amount of people. They have the same protocols. They do the same things, but yet the governor says, "Oh, you can't open." I mean, it's like there's no data and there's no science. The same way with our restaurants. Why can't our restaurants be open? I mean, we were on a call yesterday, and we said this to the governor's representative. Why can't our restaurants open? Oh, well, they sit across from each other with their masks off, and but they're sitting with people they know. They're a limited number of people. I mean, we went through the whole litany of things, and yet here we are, and it's a one-man show. It's been a one-man show since March. He's distributing money that should be a legislative responsibility, and he's making these edicts, and they always come back to, oh, it's based on data and science. Well, I got news for you. There's nothing based on data and science that says our restaurants ought to be closed in the state of Washington.
Amazing.
We know you've been frustrated about this last time we talked to you, Senator. It doesn't seem to have calmed down at all, and I don't blame you. We feel the same way. Any possible success in efforts to clip his wings a little bit as far as supreme power in emergencies and that sort of thing?
I hope there is. I believe there is. It's just going to test the intestinal fortitude of some of the Democrats because they are as frustrated and have been just as frustrated as the rest of us. And I'm hoping that they'll show that by pulling back the powers that he had. None of us would object to what he did in March and April, because nobody knew. It was an emergency, and it truly was. But after April, it's just a matter of trying to maintain and control. It wasn't an emergency anymore, but here we are, 10 months later, and we're still under his emergency order, and we have requested I can't tell you how many times we've requested that he call us into special session so that we could address some of these issues and help make these decisions. But he doesn't want any help. He just wants to decide, and I can tell you I don't always agree with his decisions, and very few of them in this case. So.
Well, what you're talking about, Senator, is the inequity, the double standard. Why can this operation be open but that one can't? And that frustration is the double standard frustration I think we saw boil over in Washington, D.C., yesterday, and I think that there is an ongoing frustration about what appears to be a double standard in this country that doesn't make sense, except to those making the call. And sooner or later, you get what you get with that kind of thing. So I wish you.
Well, and that's exactly right. There is a double standard, and we got to get beyond that. I mean, fair is fair, and equitable is equitable, and it ought to be for everybody.
Absolutely.
But when you have rioters in downtown Seattle burning cars and breaking windows and looting stores, and you just stand there and let them do it and say, "Oh well, we can't arrest them because the city council is a bunch of socialists and they don't want to see anybody arrested." I mean, here we are.
Well, we wish you very good luck in that regard in trying to do something there, Lance. Do you have? You want to ask about transportation or gas tax issues or any of that kind of stuff?
We kind of
only got about 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Understand.
Well, I'm just wondering about a gas tax. We're going to see some more gas taxes. We're going to see. I take it that Democrats are going to try to reach for just about anything, but and we've talked about the income taxes. We're going to see a rise in the gas tax now.
I don't think you're going to see a rise. My guess would be you're not going to see a rise in the gas tax. What we're going to see possibly is more something along the lines of either low carbon fuel standards, which will raise the price of gas substantially, or a cap and trade, which will raise the price of gas some, or a carbon tax, which will raise the price of gas. A $20 carbon tax would raise the price of gas somewhere around 14 or 15 cents a gallon. Those are the things that we're seeing the Democrats put forth. The reality of it is they control the governor's office, they control the Senate, and they control the House. And they control them by fairly large numbers. So somewhere along the line, we got to figure out of those three which is the better for our citizens, because one of them's going to happen. And I can tell you, I sure the heck don't want low carbon fuel standards, because the last time we looked at this, it was like $1 a gallon more once it was implemented. So anyway.
Senator Curtis King, we really appreciate. We know you're a busy man. Thank you for your time this morning. We really appreciate it, and we were going to check in with you during the legislative session, and hopefully you'll have some good news for us about halfway through that the Republicans have stopped all the new taxes.
Thank you, Senator.
We're going to try awfully hard. Thanks for the opportunity, and Happy New Year to both of you.